Good day to all. I am Dr. S. Manjula, Associate Professor of Vistas University, Chennai. I wish to deliver a lecture topic on research and publication ethics. I hereby take this opportunity to thank GRAPS Educational and Charitable Trust for giving me a wonderful platform. Thank you. So, research and publication ethics. What is publication ethics? Publication ethics are nothing but it is a rule of conduct. When we are publishing a paper, we need to follow certain ethics, which is very much necessary for the benefit of others and even for us. So, what are the basic principles of research ethics? It is based on three basic fundamental principles. They are respect for person, justice, and beneficence. So, respect for person. We wish to treat each and every person equally. People should be treated as autonomous. That is, they must be able to take their own decision. When we are selecting our samples, we should give equal freedom to them. So they should be informed about their participation, what is happening. So they should have the autonomy to feel, to take decision whether to participate in the study or not. And people with diminished autonomy should be protected. Who are the categories who fall in the category of diminished autonomy? For example, young children, geriatric patients, patients with mental disabilities. These are the one who cannot be able to take their own decisions. In such a case, we either try to reduce those participants or otherwise we make their attendant fully be informed about the study. The next one is beneficence. As I said, beneficence is nothing but action which is done for the benefit of others. So the research should be such a way that it should not harm others and maximize the benefits for the participants, and also whether it is maximizing the risk or benefits or not, it should minimize definitely the risk of the participants who are involving in the study. So the next is justice. Justice is fairness. Participants, the recruitment of participants, that is the selection, the sample selection should be done genuinely. The research should be conducted in such a way that there is no vulnerability towards the study, and the study should be taken in such a way that for certain studies only men should be taken. It should be equally treated, like both men and women can be selected for the study, and vulnerability should be very less. The next one, basic ethical considerations in research. These are the basic ethical consideration which has to be considered definitely for a research. The first one is honesty. Honesty is important not only for the research, by all means it is necessary. So when we are just taking the research, when we are collecting samples, when we are collecting data, we should be very honest enough in just producing those data. We should not falsify or fabricate or misinterpret or misrepresent data, which is not ethical, at the same time which can spoil the decorum of the research. Objectivity, definitely an objectivity is very much important, and we should strive our best to avoid bias, avoid or minimize bias or even the self-deception. So the next is openness. Openness is very much necessary when we are selecting a sample criteria, sample selection. To those samples, that is to those participants, we should be able to share our data, what we are just doing, what are just going to be conducted in the study. So in which way we are making utilize of them. So all those things should be openly discussed with the samples, and also we also should be open enough to accept criticism. When we are publishing a research, of course, some will appreciate, some may criticize. We should be open enough to accept criticism. Then transparency. So transparency, of course, I was just explaining so far. So transparency is whatever we are just going to do it. We are supposed to disclose the methods, materials, everything, not only to the samples. Even if someone is interested in our research and when they are asking, we should be able to just tell them openly what is what. And accountability, we are fully accountable for whatever which is going to happen in the research, whether it is going to be positive or negative. We should take the responsibility of even for explanation, what is happening, what is going to happen, what has happened, why it is happening, everything. Even if anything goes wrong, we should be able to take the full responsibility. Intellectual property. So intellectual property, in the sense, a research work is the entire intellectual property of the own researcher. So never we should try to plagiarize others. Plagiarism is nothing but when we steal some objects from others, it is called as robbery. When we steal their intellectual property, it is called as plagiarism. So that should never be done. If we are just going to plagiarize others work, definitely we will lose our individuality, so that should not be done. The next one, responsibility of the publication. A responsible publication is nothing but it is not only publishing the research just for namesake and just for not for the count sake. We should do some research in such a way that it is beneficial for the society, and we should also avoid duplicative publication. And social responsibility is we should try to prevent or mitigate social harms through our research, public education, and advocacy. Non-discrimination, mostly we should try to avoid the discrimination against our colleagues or students based on their gender, race, religion. So those research based on the criticism or racism should be avoided. Competence. Our professional competence and expertise should be maintained. We should take steps to promote our competence. Next level, we should just go on marching forwards. Confidentiality. Certain important personal data which we are collecting from our samples, participants, those personal data should be kept highly confidential. Legality. Our ethics, our research should definitely obey the laws and rules and regulations of the law. That is, it should abide by the laws. Animal care. We should give proper respect and care not only for the human beings but also for the animals, and even the animals should not be harmed. Human subjects protection. When we are conducting our research on human subjects, that's what I was telling, on the samples which we are selecting, we should maximize the participants benefits. At the same time, we should try to minimize the risk factors. Plagiarism. So plagiarism, it is nothing but it has been derived from the Latin word plagiarius, so which means to kidnap. So it is nothing but, as I was saying, when we are just stealing some objects from others, it is called as robbery. So when we are stealing others' work, others' intellectual work, so it is something called as plagiarism. So it is an intellectual theft, which will not serve the purpose for a long run. But definitely we will lose our individuality. At a long run, definitely we will just try to be an imitation of others, which will not serve the purpose. And definitely the teachers, the researchers, the teachers should educate the research scholars to strictly avoid plagiarism. But however it is nowadays, to a certain extent, to a certain degree or to a certain percentage, they are allowing plagiarism. So to a lesser amount, that is to a lesser percentage, 10 percentage or 15 percentage, in certain publication itself, they will just say that 10 or 15 percentage is okay for plagiarism. So in that case, you can go, but beyond going that, it is not good. The next is types of plagiarism. One is self-plagiarism and the other one is, there are different types. We'll just see one by one. Self-plagiarism. See, for example, when we are just going to steal our own property, in the sense, we usually say, no, it is not stealing, that because we are just taking it from our own work. Even when we are just going to copy our own work of the previous one, if we are just going to do it without the consideration of the teacher, without the knowledge of the professor, then it is called as self-plagiarism. And also sometimes even we tend to just some tends to steal the pictures, images, musics, all those are considered as plagiarism. And self plagiarism of pictures, music, images should also be avoided. Without the consideration of the professor, we are not supposed to do it. There are five most general common types of plagiarism. One is global plagiarism, where the entire text is just copied down without mentioning the author, apply just a copying of it. Paraphrasing is nothing but if there's no proper citation, the plagiarism causes, that is, we are just paraphrasing the content of the previous one, content of the others. Direct plagiarism is direct copying of the paragraphs or the letters or even the sentences, that is called as direct plagiarism. Self plagiarism, I was explaining you just now, when we are using our own work. Accidental plagiarism, it is unintentional, actually without our knowledge. Sometimes accidentally we tend to copy certain things, so that is accidental plagiarism. And the next one, self plagiarism. I was just explaining self plagiarism so long. What are the basic consequences of self plagiarism? In some of the institutions where they strictly ban this self plagiarism, even if it is going to be plagiarism of the self, அவங்களுடைய own copy na kuda, they are not supposed to just plagiarism without the consideration of the professor. And in such a case, the students may be penalized, punished, or even they can be failed in the examination. So that is to be strictly avoided. And the next one is, these are the plagiarism. I was telling about the plagiarism consequences, and this is the plagiarism for using images, videos, and music. So I was telling you, even if you're just copying the images, videos, or music of your own thing, that type of self plagiarism also should be avoided. And in general, if you're just going to copy images, videos, and music of others, definitely you should get the permission from the other researcher, or and also you have to mention the citation for that. And self plagiarism in that this aspect, that is copying our own images, also has to be avoided. And when we are just copying the music, when we are just copying the music of others, definitely we should get the copyrights of the music. And even when we are just going to publish a video, when we are just going to deliver a speech, or when we are just publishing anything, even if there's any background music, definitely we have to get the copyright of it, even though we are not intentionally taking that music. If it just plays at the back, even then we are just supposed to get the copyrights of it. The next one is mosaic plagiarism, which is also known as patchwork plagiarism, or otherwise it is called as incremental plagiarism, where the students most usually students tend to do this. It is nothing but when a student borrows phrases from a source without using quotations. To be precise, without mentioning the source, citation of the source. So that is called as mosaic plagiarism. இதுலயே பார்த்தீங்கன்னா there are two types of mosaic plagiarism: copyright from a single source or copying from several sources. Okay, either copy from the single source or copying from several sources. So these are the consequences of mosaic plagiarism. It can cause offense to the original author, and the author may the researcher may face consequences. So like other forms of plagiarism, this particular mosaic plagiarism also can lead to punishments and penalization. So there are chances for academic failure, and academic grade may go down. So all these things. What are the ways you can try to avoid plagiarism? Cite your source. Even if you tend to just take any quotation, just mention the citation. Okay, citing the source is very important. Include the quotations whenever and wherever it is necessary. Include the quotation. And paraphrasing is when we are just using the paraphrasing, it can slip into plagiarism if done incorrectly. So successfully paraphrasing without plagiarism involves extreme competence. So direct paraphrasing should be avoided. Then at the most, try your level best to present your own idea without copying from others. And above all, after completion of your research, the entire study completion, when you're just going to put into your words, then use a plagiarism checker. Nowadays, there are various plagiarism tools which is available. So those tools we can use that, and just check the plagiarism checker. The percentage will be revealed. So based on the percentage review, when we come to know the percentage, accordingly we can just manage or even manipulate once again, or we can just change it once again and just try to frame new one. Okay. So conclusion: it is mandatory for a researcher to follow the ethics while publishing a research paper. So it is very much essential. So all the best for all the researcher. I thank you. Thank you so much for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Once again, I take this opportunity to thank GRAPS Educational and Charitable Trust. Thank you. Thank you so much.